What's up, everyone? Jason Gilbo here with Nick Tasso, taking a look at some GPP bats for tonight's slate. 14 games. We have the second game of Coors, which Coors is always chalk. We never really tend to talk about it, but I guess if weather continues to be an issue, it might become a little bit lower owned.
Yeah, it was interesting yesterday. They were all pretty much 5% or below. I know that because I rostered some of them on the off chance, but didn't work out. So hoping tonight it works out.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be as bad, but it still looks like somewhat of a concern. And Denver's always just a crazy area anyway.
But if they did play at 5% ownership level, that would have been a very good night for me last night. But
I would have.
even so, still was good.
Yeah. Looking at catcher here, you and I, Gary Sanchez comes in once again as a top option against Tim Edelman. Great ballpark there, hitting the middle of that lineup. Yankees once again in a good spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's almost a must play on FanDuel. He's 3,200. That's just so low. DraftKings, you might have to work a little bit to fit him in the lineup at 4,800. But like you said, he's a good pitcher, and you kind of gotta go or hitter, and you kind of gotta go with him. Sorry, I have dogs.
Do you?
Yeah, and there's actually like a woodpecker noise going on outside, which is pretty bad. So that's why the dogs are going crazy.
All right. You all sit over there, bud?
Yeah, I think we're good. Sanchez, play him on FanDuel, definitely. DraftKings, he's still good, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, it's a little bit too high for me.
Yeah, price is definitely up there. I think overall, if I'm looking at someone else in a higher price range, I mean, Wilson Contreras should be in the second game. Hits well against lefties. You get Freeland, who's on the hill, left-hander in that ballpark. I think if I am making a move for a high upside play, I think I do like Contreras as well.
Yeah, I like that. I know I'm probably going to stay away from a lot of the Coors games tonight because I don't really want to get burned again. But I can definitely see playing Contreras. He's obviously a really good hitter. When you throw him into the Coors mixture, even though he is priced high, I still like him.
You and I were on the same cheap catcher. Robbie Ray's definitely been solid. He misses a lot of bats, but James McCann, I mean, very solid against lefties, and now you toss him in Chase Field. I think he's definitely a logical cheap catcher if you're looking for a lot of upside.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just only had 20 at bats against lefties this year. But he has 3 home runs in that time for about a 450 ISO. And we do know Robbie Ray sometimes can struggle against righties. So I think it's all making up for a good night for McCann, especially in that ballpark.
Yep, no, I'm with Team McCann. I mean, doing what he did a little bit last year, I mean, over 200 ISO going back to last season. So McCann's certainly a cheap GPP option. Moving over to first base. This one, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go. I think obviously Rizzo's going to draw some popularity if he's high or if that game goes. But I kind of like this mid range.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm going to drop down a little bit for guys like Jose Abreu and Matt Carpenter. You look at Abreu, 3 home runs his past 5 games, 241 ISO against lefties this year. Hector Santiago is a fly ball pitcher, so I definitely like everything that Abreu brings to the table. And Carpenter's just been so good lately, 6 out of 7 games where he's had double-digit DFS output, and Diaz really isn't good at all.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. I think a lot of people don't like using Carpenter at first base. So, I mean, he always tends to draw lower ownership. Cheap guy that I'm taking a look at, Kenneth Vargas, over 200 ISO against righties going back to last year. Mike Pelfrey, one of the worst right-handed pitchers in the game right now, 366 will be allowed to lefties. Doesn't miss a lot of bats and good ballpark there in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Vargas. I talked about him last week, and of course that night he didn't play, so it is what it is. But I like him here as well. And then one other guy that I had kind of a little bit lower than who we've talked about is Ryan Healy, first base on FanDuel only, first and third on DraftKings. But he's been pretty good lately. He doesn't have the best numbers against lefties, though. Against righties. But he does own a 458 WOBA at home this year, and Alex Meyer could struggle, which means he's out soon in the ball game, and Angels pen could be in some trouble.
Yeah, we've seen Meyer. I mean, a lot of times he'll issues with the walks. His offense, I mean, low in WOBA, but overall, I mean, this is a team that hits the ball hard. I think really 1 through 7, they're a tough team to kind of get out.
Yeah, I agree with you. You don't think about them a lot, but they do kind of can make some stuff happen every once in a while. And like you said, they put the ball in play, which definitely goes in their favor.
For guy I'm looking at, whether it's Hanley Ramirez or Mitch Moreland, I'm really okay with either of them against Willie Peralta tonight. It's just they lose the DH going into Milwaukee, so we'll see what the lineup looks like. Obviously, both sides of the plate, Willie Peralta struggles with. Both of those guys are reasonably priced, and I like the upside here. I mean, Boston certainly a stackable offense tonight.
It's a really good park for Boston tonight, and it is Willie Peralta going, so we all know how bad he is. Despite he had a pretty good start to the season, but he's definitely fallen off again. And I like either of those guys, and in fact, I like almost all the Red Sox tonight, as long as they're reasonably priced.
Yep. One more for me, Carlos Santana. Big fan of the Cleveland lefties. Bolsinger allows over 350 WOBA in his career. Santana leading off there. Good ballpark at the Rogers Center. Indians offense, I mean, some of them are a little bit underpriced on tonight's slate, depending on the site. I think Santana's going to get overlooked as well.
Yeah, and you look at the Cleveland offense, they haven't had a great past few games, so some people might forget about them. Low ownership tonight, most likely.
Anyone else at first base for you?
Not really. I think we touched upon all the good ones, really. Obviously, keep an eye on the Colorado game. Mark Reynolds has been pretty good lately.
Yeah, he has. Second base, I was looking at Jonathan VR, only 3,100 on FanDuel. This guy has struggled a little bit this year, especially with the strikeouts. But against lefties, I mean, this guy's been phenomenal. 388 will be going back to last year, over 200 ISO. Pomeranz is one of those guys where, I I don't want to exactly target him all the time. I kind of feel like how everyone's going to be on the fence about it. And I think Milwaukee's going to draw a little bit lower ownership just because Pomeranz does miss a lot of bats.
Yeah, I definitely see Milwaukee having really low ownership, mainly for the fact that Pomeranz is kind of in a matchup where he should get the win, so that kind of boosts his value. And I think some people are going to stay away from that. Plus, I'm not sure about the status of Braun right now. I know he's been day to day, so if he's not in the lineup, it kind of changes things, makes it a little bit easier for Pomeranz. But I agree with you. Villar is a pretty solid option, and when he's priced nice, you kind of got to roll with him.
Yeah, I mean, guys have the speed and power upside. You and I were both taking a look at a second baseman as well for our next one.
Brad Miller, is that who we're at?
Yeah, big Brad Miller.
Yeah, so he's second baseman on DraftKings FanDuel shortstop. But the thing that I like about him is he's going up against Chris Young, who's an extreme fly ball pitcher. And last season, Miller had 22 of his 30 home runs at Tropicana. That's just an insane stat, which obviously he probably won't duplicate this year because he's been off a pretty tough start. But I think things might turn around here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Rays bats, especially from the left side, are really in play. Young, I mean, his last full season allowed 17 home runs to lefties, as you noted, extreme fly ball pitcher. Yeah, and I think I'm not worried about the ballpark at all there. As you noted, I mean, Miller, good power, Dickerson, great power, Morganson, all solid power there.
Yes, I think smart money's also on the Rays tonight, even though they haven't looked that great either the past few days or this entire season, really.
Jason Kipnis, kind of struggling to start the year. Prices dropped down a little bit, but for the same reasons I like Santana against Bolsinger. I like Kipnis hitting the top half of that lineup. 357 WOBA, 195 ISO going back to last year against righties. I think he's a pretty solid bargain.
Yeah, people forget too about Kipnis. He like carried that offense at times. I think it was last year and even the year before, and he was so good for DFS purposes. So I definitely like him there. I personally would wait a little bit because the injuries. I think he's still kind of slowly to get back to his old form, but I can definitely see using him here.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely been struggling. He's only hitting a $170 out of the gates, but trying to be ahead of the curve. I mean, I don't mind tossing in GPPs.
All right, I see what you're doing there. So I want to talk about Robinson Cano. I don't really have much to say, but it is a great ballpark, Citizens Bank Park, for Robinson Cano to really just pull the ball and hit a home run and even find it in the gap going up against Eichhoff. Eichhoff's really not the greatest pitcher, so I definitely think Cano is in a good spot. He's priced kind of nicely. He's not too expensive, and I think with this core slate, he's going to be a nice option.
Yeah, 4,300 on FanDuel or on DraftKings really isn't all that bad.
No, absolutely not. And like I was saying, I think you'll get a really low ownership rate with cores being out there because a lot of people have been gravitating towards LeMahieu.
Yep.
And now you have Zobrist also on that slate too.
Third base, you and I both in love with Miguel Sano here. I mean, dude's been absolutely phenomenal this year. Once again, I mean, great matchup for these Twins bats against Pelfrey. Good ballpark, and Sano's just been absolutely dialed in this year.
Yeah, I think all we really needed to say was Mike Pelfrey, right? There's
That
no
sums it
other
up.
notes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think people understand it, so we can kind of move on.
yeah. Sano plus Pelfrey equals trouble.
Yeah, and if not, don't come after me. It's just a numbers game, to be honest with you.
You were looking at another Tigers bat, Nick Castellanos, on the road in Chase Field, which definitely helps power-wise for bats.
Yeah, much like McCann, he hits lefties well. Good ballpark, even though it's not a terrible lefty starter. Um, like I said, Ray still can have trouble against righties. He bats high in the order, and he's not priced too egregiously. So I definitely like him here.
Yep, I'm with you. Eugenio Suarez is the guy that I'm taking a look at. 386 WOBA against lefties going back to last year, over 200 ISO. CC Sabathia is starting to come back down to earth. I know he pitched better in the second half last year, but now he's kind of looking like the guy we all expected. 342 WOBA to righties in that ballpark. Suarez probably hitting about fifth in the lineup. I like the upside out of him.
Yeah, there's a lot of Reds bats that I like tonight. I'm not sure if they're priced right for me. I do like Suarez though, and like you said, CC has just looked really bad the last few starts. I remember a few starts ago going up against Pittsburgh, the team that can't hit at all, and they really kind of destroyed them. So do not play CC tonight.
No, definitely don't. Anyone else? I mean, I feel like there's a lot of these options might cut into each other's ownership because like you're gonna have Arenado there, Chris Bryant's gonna suck away, but like even guys like Todd Frazier or Kyle Seager, I don't mind.
Yeah, those guys are in good spots too. The price pretty nicely. I like a guy way below pricing where you feel comfortable on FanDuel. He is actually second base there, third base on DraftKings, but he's only 2,200 on FanDuel, which is Derek Dietrich going up against Wainwright, who has really struggled.
Yeah, Wainwright's a guy I mean on the road last year, even though Miami's a good hitter's park. Wainwright just doesn't seem to have the swing and miss stuff.
No, not at all. And 6.30 ERA is not good.
Nope. We know a shortstop. If we're looking up top, I mean, I think Trey Turner was kind of bummed seeing him out of the lineup, but should be back in there tonight against Jimenez, who Nationals will come in chalky, but for good reasons in that ballpark against Jimenez.
Yeah, absolutely. Turner, obviously, in most spots is a really good hitter. When you throw him up against Ubaldo Jimenez, I think things change drastically, and he's a much better hitter against Ubaldo Jimenez.
Gene Segura is a guy I feel like you've been dialed in on like the last few pods too.
Yeah, he's just been really good lately. I mean, 5 straight multi-hit games. He's a really good ballpark, not the best pitcher. So I think things are going to happen with him. And again, he's still a guy who's not really priced that terribly for the production he most likely will give you.
No, I'm definitely with you. I mean, I like him. It's like if you need to punt, Jordy Mercer will be a guy I'll take a look at. Been decent against lefties throughout his career. Struggling a little bit this year, but Urias is a guy I feel like is just going to be a little bit unseasoned. I don't mind going after.
Yeah, going back last year, Urias was good at times. I mean, looking at him, he'd go through the order once and would be really dominant, and then clearly he would struggle after that. And now that this is his second season of seeing a lot of batters, I think they're gonna really get a idea of what he's throwing. And like you said, Mercer's really not that expensive, so you might as well go with him.
Yeah, if you need someone cheap, I mean, I'm okay with it. Because outside of that, I mean, um, there's not a ton I love. I mean, maybe a Tim Anderson I'll take a look at. He's been solid against lefties. He gets Santiago at home. Just if you need someone cheap, because I do think obviously Turner will be the chalkier option.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one last guy I had, he's not really that cheap, but going back to CC Sabathia, Zach Cozart. He's on a 6 game hit streak, 351 average, and he has a 491 WOBA against lefties this year. So I definitely like him in this spot.
Yep, I'm with you. Reds bats for me as well. Moving on to outfield, there are numerous ways you can go. I mean, we've talked about a lot of bad pitchers on the hill. Jimenez, I mean, that puts Bryce Harper back into play.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my top guy here. He seems to be a little bit better from his injury that he missed a few days from. Facing Ubaldo, good hitters park, hit a home run yesterday. So it looks like he's heating up.
Yep, big fan of Harper. I don't mind paying up there. Red Sox outfielders I like quite a bit here. Betts and Benintendi going up against Peralta. I like Benintendi's price quite a bit over there on DK. I mean, I think he was 4,400, which really isn't all that bad.
Yeah, that's where
So
he's at.
yeah, I mean, I'll be probably playing him in all formats and having a comfortable share of him in my lineups.
Do you want to know something depressing?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. Jackie Bradley Jr., who will most likely bat seventh, is $100 more on DraftKings than Benintendi.
Well, that's the pricing algorithm for you.
But then on FanDuel, he's only 2,900.
Yeah, and I mean,
So
Benintendi's a lot more pricier on FanDuel.
yeah, so it's crazy. I mean, I'm not saying I like Jackie Bradley Jr., but at 2,900, it's not too bad going up against Peralta, but I'm not a huge fan of it.
No, I mean, I can see taking some shots there because it's cheap. Jackie Bradley Jr. in that ballpark, I don't mind it.
Absolutely. Another guy I was looking at going back to attacking Wainwright would be Christian Yelich. He seems to really be a consistent contributor lately. And like I was saying about Wainwright, he's been really bad lately, especially against lefties. He's given up 3 home runs already in just 15 innings of work, over 400 WOBA. But he also has given up over 400 WOBA against righties as well. So he clearly is not a good pitcher anymore.
Corey Dickerson, I'll take a look at tonight. Kind of following along with the Rays trend that we had going with Miller. We talked a little bit about Morrison, but with Young, I mean, struggling, doesn't miss a lot of bats, extreme fly ball pitcher. Dickerson, good power, even at Tropicana, over 200 ISO against righties. I mean, these Rays bats are definitely boomer or bust, but I mean, there's a lot of potential. You can still fit them in and out of Coors lineups and with Scherzer if you want to go that route tonight as well.
Yeah, I don't mind that as well. Another lefty bat that I've been looking at would be Jock Peterson. He's the guy who seems to be heating up as well. Another guy hit a home run last night. It's not the best matchup against Ivan Nova because I think Nova's still a pretty good pitcher, but we've seen him struggle lately as well. So I like Peterson.
Yeah, I'm with you. Good pivot away from Bellinger, who's going to be a popular play. Uh, in the
Yeah,
cheaper
I'm
range,
off Bellinger now.
oh, you're done with him?
Yep, done.
Toss him to the curb.
Yeah, I
Jeez.
used him for 2 days. And I got what I needed from him, and now I'm done. Now I'm on to Peterson.
Oh, okay. I see how it's going.
There was literally like a 30% difference in ownership rating yesterday between Peterson and Bellinger. So
Yeah, and I still think it'll be the same.
yeah, because people still those 2 games are still going to be chasing it.
Michael Conforto, guy I'll take a look at. He's been hot, hitting over 300 last 10 games, couple homers as well. Um, I mean, I like some tonight as a GPP arm, but I think Conforto's one of the guys that I worry about. Probably him and Jay Bruce, who have been swinging the bat well.
Yeah, absolutely. Samardzija, he's a guy who obviously can't use in cash, but GPPs I can understand. Mets haven't been the best offense. They can kind of have those random games like we saw the other day where they scored 10 or so, but I don't know. It depends in the situation. I probably could play Conforto and Bruce, but I'm not itching to do it.
Anyone else you like here in the outfield?
2 guys, Keon Broxton going up against a lefty, as we touched on. Pomeranz really isn't that terrible, but he can struggle, and I think Keon Broxton could kind of do some damage against him. And then also Aaron Hicks, I just think he's too cheap right now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, I like Hernan Perez as another guy alongside for the same reasons as Broxton and Yankees outfield. I mean, Ellsbury, Gardner, Judge, Hicks, all in play.
Absolutely.
So, any Tasso tidbits here for the end of the pod?
No, not really. I think I gave you one already. It was the Jackie Bradley one. So
That was just depressing.
that was more. That was more of just me being angry. But I
All
don't
right.
know.
Well, you're
Sorry about
slacking.
the dogs, I guess.
Slacking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think I brought a little excitement because of the dogs.
yeah. You either
So
brought a
I
little
think I'll
excitement
talk.
or like should away a couple of viewers.
Yeah. So there's a dog trying to attack like a woodpecker outside or something. I don't know. I have no idea what that noise was, to be honest with you. So
Well, figure
I'm
that
probably
out,
gonna go
sir.
investigate it now. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go investigate it. So have a good day, everybody.
That's gonna wrap things up here. You can head on over to DaveMasseyCafe.com for our great tools and content.